Have you ever wondered what it would have been like to be best mates with your favourite celebs when they were your age? What did they get up to? What were their favourite songs? And what TV shows did they watch? Because despite the glamorous lifestyles they now lead, once they were a kid with a dream just like you. This show lets you look back in time with your favourite celebs as they become 12 again. So come on, spin me around now, I don't wanna go home. 'Cause when you hold me like this, you know my heart skips a beat. He's the hat-loving singer and presenter from The Extra Factor who might make your heart skip a beat. And even back in 1996, Olly Murs had an eye for the ladies.
When I was 12, I was very easily distracted. That was always the thing that they said in the classroom. He tends to be very distracted by the girls.
All are massive celebs today, but it wasn't always that way. So let's rewind and find out everything about what they were like when they were kids.
When I was 12, I was skinny. I was like a beanpole. I used to have the curtain haircut. I used to think I was David Beckham. And I almost said to my mum and dad once, I think I was separated at birth. I was hoping one day they'd realise that I was his brother and that he would just like, yeah, Ollie, come play for your Manchester United with me. I never got the phone call. There was this thing, I was a bit of a cheeky chappy. I was twin brother Ben, so he was the one that was kind of the angry twin. I was more of a silent, cheeky kind of character. I was doing things behind my mum's back and she would never know I was doing it, but then whenever I got told off, I'd always blame it on Ben.
Whilst Mira was channeling her thoughts through her diary, Olly was turning channels over.
It was when TV Watches first came out. It was literally a remote control that did everything. It was brilliant. Every school lesson, especially science, we'd sit and watch the film and Mr. Richards would turn around and say, "Okay, class, pause it. Now, this was basically about, we're talking now about, precipitation." Whilst he was talking, I was rewinding the tape and then pausing it. And then he'd go back to it and press play and he'd be really confused because it'd be on a completely separate thing. It was always a good laugh. I got dumped when I was 12 by the girl of my dreams. But she was about 6 foot tall and I was only about 4 foot. I was besotted by her and she ended up dumping me because I was too small. She said it was like walking her brother around, like a younger brother. So, oh well.
So that's what Sarah was listening to in the 80s, but what was Olly listening to in the 90s?
Got a paper round at 12 years old, so I was actually earning some money. I was able then to go down and get the bargain bin Woolworths cassettes for 99p. And I think my first probably single I ever bought, and I probably was around about that time, was 911 Party People, Hey It's Friday Night.
Which is in the bargain bin for very good reason. Exhibit A.
Like played it and played it to death, and brilliant song. It really is it's a really good pop record.
Just like today, boy bands were huge in the 90s. There were loads of bands, and like 911, a lot of them seemed to have numbers in their names. There was E17, Boys to Men, 98 Degrees, All for One, and 5. But the big thing about boy bands in the 90s was their terrible fashion sense. Take a look at Gary Barlow's waistcoat, shocker. But the height of boy band fashion climaxed with the classy look of matching white suits. I hope you're taking notes, One Direction. In 1996, the nation held its breath, and so did Olly as England were playing football again.
Big impact for me that year was Euro 96.
The England football team has completed its final training session before the opening match of Euro 96, the biggest sporting event in England for 30 years.
It was massive. I don't think I really got how big it really was, because obviously it was the first time since the World Cup in 1966 that we as a nation held the football in our country.
Euro 96 was indeed the first major football tournament to be held in the UK since the 1966 World Cup when England won, so hopes were high.
I felt the passion of the country, but I didn't really feel if it was now at 27, I'd go to every game.
England did well and got through to the semi-finals, and just like in 1966, the big match was England versus Germany, but this time England lost.
The atmosphere at last night's match was very friendly. There were outbreaks of violence around the country after England lost.
England was gutted, and tensions grew as some people took to fighting and causing trouble in city centres around the country. The party was over, but luckily for England, hey, there's always next time. Right, let's fast forward to 1996 and find out what Ollie was watching on the box.
I remember Rugrats. I was watching that in the mornings. Rocco's Modern Life. Monkey Magic. Always remember that programme. It was very old. It was an old school programme, but I remember watching that as a kid all the time. I remember watching Heartbreak High.
But for Ollie, there was only one show that was his favourite.
I remember watching a lot of WWF wrestling. Massive fan. I used to have all the figures. I used to love watching that as well.
The World Wrestling Federation, or the WWF as it was known, was a huge success in the 90s. It was massive, and so were the dudes doing it. The Hitman, The Undertaker and Britain's very own Bulldog were just some of the stars. They definitely had some tough fights, but the toughest fight for the WWF was between the lawyers, not the wrestlers.
The World Wrestling Federation has been forced to change its name because it has the same initials as the Worldwide Fund for Nature.
So the WWF became the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, and the wrestlers lived happily ever after. Sort of.
Just loved life. I was out playing football all the time. I used to love being out in the fresh air. 12, it was probably the last age that I didn't really care what people felt about me, and I was just able to enjoy being young. I think that the life that I've chosen and the path that I've gone and the mistakes that I've made along the way, I would tell myself at 12 I wouldn't change it for the world. He could probably give me some advice. So if you can get my 12-year-old self at 12, could probably teach me a thing or two, to be honest. I miss being 12. Any chance you can put me back in there, I'd love to go back to 96. Because then I could go and find all the girls that are really hot now and really attractive. And the girls that I really fancy that wouldn't go out with me, and I could charm them then. Enjoy all